Hello, and welcome. You know what? It's okay to look at something you've done and think, I don't think that's quite working. And I'm not, as you probably know, quite sure about what's been going on at the back here. But I've had an idea. So let's have a look at that. So as you might remember from the previous episode when we put all this together, I've got this rack, Classic 350 rack, which with the Classic 350 seat is floating over the custom mudguard, and that's all good. Don't worry, really happy with that. And actually we'll drop that off to have a look at how that works. So, Classic 350 seat. The modified Meteor mudguard. And I got this tail light off Amazon and we made this bracket. And it is all working, especially with the rack. But I can't help but think having this stick up just isn't as good as it could be. So instead of having this randomly sticking up, spoiling all the flow of everything and looking like a homemade add-on, which it is, I had an idea which is so comically simple. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. So this is the original Meteor tail light. It's a bit inconvenient because of this cable at the moment. But instead of that angle we're left with might work like this, look. Obviously there's a perspective thing going on there because I want it to be there. We're going to try that now. But look at that, look at that nice curve. Comes off the curve of the mudguard. It almost looks like it was meant to be there, which it was. But obviously it was actually up there in the original mounting, and the rest of this mudguard was around here. But because of what we've done there, this might work out. Now this doesn't have a number plate light on, but I can sort that out. So I'm going to have a play with this. Put my brass badge back. That's to hide the holes. If you remember from that, when we did this, that's where the number plate light would go on the Meteor, and this would be around the bottom. So perhaps there may be a use for that yet. Now, where's that Meteor light? Here we go. It's our stud mounting from the bottom. So that will go. Obviously, it can't go all the way up on the mudguard, and it can't go all the way not on the mudguard because I still need to fit the number plate on. But there may be a sort of halfway house where it sort of flows off the back, but the number plate still fits underneath. Now that cable sticking out the bottom is stopping me mocking that up, and I've had a look and there's no easy way to this cable sort of glued and attached in, and on this end we've got quite a big plug, which means I can't put it through there to even fake it. So to try this out, I may have to do something destructive here just to get this cable through to even see if it's going to work. So I'm a bit wary about that because it means I have to do something physical, unless I just cut this cable and stick some connectors in it afterwards. Yes, I think I'm going to do that, because otherwise I'm going to have to cut this out just to get this cable through to even see if I want it. Yes, let's do that. I'll put the drawing down here. I can fix that later. It's done. So that through there. Now, there's not much to hold it in place, and this isn't set at the moment, which is still good because it means you can play with this angle. Now I'll move your angle in a sec because I know you can't really tell from there. So let's just have a look underneath. So that's the mock-up of our number plate size. So that has to go on. I can move it down a little bit. And that would be something like that. Obviously I can't make it fit down at the moment because of this plastic moulding. And that would make it sit down a lot better. So that's it from a bit further away. And I've got this grill to go on here as well, which came as a set with all the other things. I still can't get it quite where I want it because of that plastic. Again, a bit of a shock when you change something. But I think I like it. The number plate isn't too obscured from the back. Not so much it would get me in trouble anyway. Unless it falls off. But it's an improvement. It's an improvement over that sticking up one, that's for sure. And I like the way that because it sort of touches, because it's over the metal, but also extended, it sort of pulls this together in a way for me. Just visually. Because it's not sort of off it or on it, which won't work because it'll stick up. Because it's sort of over both. And of course there's the rack to go on as well. I've got a thought about that as well. Okay, so if you're going to commit, I'm going to need to cut a bit of this plastic off. Shall I do it? It's another final think. So it's almost there, but this plastic nub's causing a problem. Do you know what? I'm looking at it again, and I don't think I'm happy again. So just for a minute, I'm going to put this number plate light back on. I'm going to think of some other options. Because I don't think that big fat Meteor light is quite doing it either. It had potential, but I don't know. It was just... It just looked a bit... This looks about 25% too big. So I might be looking on the internet now for something else. But just to try a few things, let's just pop this number plate light on. This is the original number plate light. I've actually got the replacement number plate now. With a Welsh flag on, because you're allowed to have that, I think. That's too late now anyway. Number plate light. Now there were those side indicators that had integrated stop and tail, but I'll try and find another solution because I like the way these match the front ones, obviously. thinking maybe we can mount that other one to the rack. But it would mean we kind of committed to the rack then. Perhaps that back here. Let's pop the rack back on. Okay, well already that looks a lot cleaner without that that bracket sticking up. But obviously there's got to be a light somewhere. Can't go back there because you couldn't have anything on the rack. That sticks up quite a long way. It just feels like I've kind of boxed myself into a corner. And we could put that, let's take this bracket off. Okay, so this is what I've got. And funny enough, obviously this had a number plate light built in. So if I had this, I wouldn't even need the bit I put on. How annoying. Because I almost had a solution, didn't I? I did have an idea, somebody suggested, about shortening this rack and cutting it off here. Which means there'd be a possibility of having the light down here, which is where, well, that's just where it was before. Except it was sticking up on that bracket. Well, actually it was down here, wasn't it? I just don't know now. I just don't know. Unless, here comes all the unless again. You get rid of the number plate light. Just get the feeling that today a one-way decision is going to get made. And it's going to be done one way or another. Right, so number plate light gone, because this has a number plate window. Now that could, we can cut this off. That'll be fixed up underneath, just underneath, so it's lower than the rack. So anything on the rack won't obscure it. And the number plate could, instead of being down, could go up to hide where that number plate came from, which leaves us with a little tail here where the reflector is supposed to go. And by law, I do need a reflector. Is that a plan? What I need is an octopus. I've just thought of something else. If I'd made that bracket so instead of sticking forward, I hadn't bent it that far and it came off that way, then the number plate could have covered those mounting bolts. Maybe we were kind of on the right track. I'm just going to move you so you can see clearly what I was talking about. Right, so did I just make poor decisions before? More than likely. So that's where we're at. That was in there. That was in there. Ugly, 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 ugly. But if I'd have bent that the other way, the light would have been there, which I can't get in because I bent it too far. And the number plate could have come, because I could have painted this black obviously anyway. Number plate could come up and over some countersunk mounting bolts. So can I bend this, after that lovely bending we did, can I bend that back? So basically I need to bend it 90 degrees back. Well, let's give it a try, because why not? It'll either break or it won't, or whatever. Let's have a look. So basically that has to go 90 degrees. Let's have a go. Obviously we made this in our fancy bending machine. I just don't know. I'm not confident of a good result here, but we'll have a go. Might just start it off sort of manually. Oh, that's so going to snap. Aluminium really does not like being bent backwards. So what were we looking for? We were looking for 90 degrees from where it's from. So that's not that much, really. Still in one piece. Was it that simple? Did we get away with that? Interesting. Let's go and have a look. Right, so now this goes backwards instead of forwards. That would go there. And the number plate will cover those mounting bolts up. It's definitely an improvement. Instead of seeing that ugly back of the bracket, I'm going all the other way around. That goes there, gets covered up. The only thing, because we're going uphill now, the light is higher than it was by about, well, the width of that, so 12 centimetre, 12 mil. So I'm going to see, seeing as we did so well with that folding, and see if I can straighten that and put the fold a little further up. Don't get cocky. As you can see, there's a bit of cracking in the top where we've got unfolded it, but it still feels very strong. So let's hope it is. Right, let's get the folder. Put a different fold in it. 9mm or so. Break my pencil. Who on earth made this bracket? It's rubbish. Oh yeah. Now to get it the right way. Clamp that down. Right, let's do it. That was easy. I think this aluminium's tired of being bent. Which is not a good sign. Let's have a look. Here's the bent bracket. The bend is more in the middle, but obviously this bit gets longer. Or I could just make a whole new one, but that sounds way too common sense. That goes in there. That goes in there. And the number plate sits up a bit higher. Like that. And now we can fit the reflector on this bit that sticks out the bottom. Yeah, I'm much happier about that. The sticking up thing isn't bothering me as such, not as much. Now, it was the seeing of that angle and that was spoiling it. Now that this is going to be hidden under the number plate, that's looking a lot better. And I can get some nut covers for the back here. And we can shorten these so you won't really see these rods sticking out. Well, you won't, I hope. Hopefully I've fast forwarded this bit as well. Right, so number plate, instead of being down here, it's going to go higher. And hide the cables and the bracket. In fact, that could go even higher. And there's a number plate like window just under here. And the original reflector, which I should have somewhere. Can go on there. So UK bikes, because they've got such big number plates, they come with this metal arm which fits up behind the original tail hanger. So the reflector ends up down here and your number plate ends up here. But we've moved everything up. And obviously in some territories, the reflector can go on this plastic tab. So now I can take that off there. And we can have the factory reflector on the bottom. although it's a bit ugly. You can get little stick-on ones, may take that route. So is it an improvement? Well, it definitely looks slicker from the back with those bolt holes covered. And that bracket looks a lot better. Actually, I think that number plate could come down a bit, and we'll do away with that tab and use or get a little stick-on reflector. So I think this needs to come back down a little. I think that's an improvement. But am I going to cut the rack? We'll think about that now. Quite a few people have mentioned about cutting down this rack. And is it too long? And I'm not sure which is the worst thing. I can kind of see that it is too long. But is it good that it's too long? Is it good that it's long? And will I just not know unless I cut it down? But that's kind of a one-way trip. But then it was only about £44, so I'm inclined to cut it down, I think. And if it's horribly wrong, then you can always get another one. I could sell this to someone with a short bag, maybe. So if you see cut down rack on eBay, you'll know exactly where that's come from. Obviously, the main strength of the rack is this metal frame, but these support arms end before the this bar. So the obvious is to cut it off here. And what I think I'll do is put a radius on there rather than just cutting them off flat. And perhaps I can fill the ends, smooth it round, and it'll look, well, more like this. And that'll kind of leave the light more on its own. And we love cutting. Let's get on it. I did think about taking the rack off to cut it, but I've realised it's literally fixed in place in 4 places. So I've done the bolts up. And it's tightly in place. So what I want to do is I want to come off there. And curl backwards. It's weird. It's not happy, that side. We've just got a little bit of metal holding this on. Obviously, there'll be quite a bit of cleaning up to do there now. But what's it like? I should probably clean it up before I think about that. Well, the light is more exposed. Not a fan of how square it looks, but let's cut that now, see if it's any better. Right, there it is, cut down. Now, full disclosure, actually quite a few days have passed since I just cut that off, but one of my clients came up with a load of work for me and I had to go and do that to help them out, which pulled me away from the bike, which is why this week's video is a bit delayed as well. Now, I will admit that after I cut it off, I wasn't very happy really, because it was something like has been consistent throughout the whole build. Every time I change something, I'm a bit worried by it. But coming back to it a few days later, I'm putting some felt tip on the ends because the silver was kind of a bit jarring. You couldn't sort of imagine it. I think I'm warming up to it. I'm still not sure if I should have cut the back off or not, but now I've coloured the end in instead of it being bright silver. It's acceptable. I don't know if I'm just saying that because I want it to be acceptable. So we'll just leave it for now. And like I say, we can always go back and I can buy another one if I want it. In fact, where's the bit I cut off? So that's as was. And that's as is. But fixing the bend in this bracket has helped a lot, and making this black. And I've got some nut covers for the back of here. So now, this is where we're at. Though bizarrely, I did also think of another thing, which is now too late to do, unless you're much more skilled than me, is if we'd taken that part and sliced it and bent it up. Oh, damn, that looks quite good. I wish I'd done that instead. Could have just put some little cuts in the top. That would have bent up quite nicely. Oh, damn, that looks good. Bugger. Maybe I have got a welder, but like most people, welding is absolutely not one of my things. I could get another one and bend it. Let's move a bit further back. A, B, C. Unfortunately, because we've gone all out for C, that's pretty much what it's fixed as. Although I can put filler in this end to make that look much smoother. So that's what I did to the back, not put filler in. But I've just seen that there's actually a bit more space to be had, so I'm just going to make a little cut on the bottom of this aluminium and move this light down a bit. That's what I've got at the moment. I've realised I can slide this down. This will go lower. This will still fit. So that's that number plate light that should fit where that plastic is. And that was the original template for cutting that. So all I'm going to do is copy this again, but further up. So the top is fitting and the bottom is just below those holes. Obviously this gets narrower here, so you'd think it wouldn't fit, and indeed it is narrower. When I hold it up to the bike, it doesn't seem to be a problem. You just get a sort of natural step where there's the plastic, and then this is slightly smaller. It doesn't seem to be, it doesn't make you think that something's wrong, I don't think. It just is what it is, as we say. But it's going to be very hidden by that number plate anyway. So I'm just going to line that up with the bottom of those holes. Let's have it off. Now, which tool of destruction shall I use? I think with a jigsaw it would be dancing around all over the place. Let's use the grinder. Well, it's quite tough. My grinder did not like cutting that. I mean, it's only a tiny grinder, even so. I thought it might have been a bit quicker than that. Now the bracket's trimmed, and just to help with the imagining, I'm going to put some quick and cheap black satin spray on it. Not the final paint job because this needs smoothing properly, but just want to blacken it up just to give a better impression of how it's going to look. Obviously that's kind of the hidden side, so we'll do that and let that get rubbed by the paint. Obviously just doing a quick job. While that paint's drying, I'll show you what I've got for here. I think this was about £4 or £5 on Amazon. But I think it's a good buy because there's a lot of things in here, which I'll show you now. I can get out. And basically, hopefully, they're bolt caps or nut caps. They're just plastic caps, so that if you get yourself a bolt, instead of having a shiny silver bolt or nut, you can slip a plastic cap over. Hopefully. It's possible these aren't metric, but I think that's the one. Yeah, there we go. So instead of ugly bolt heads or nut heads, you can cover them up. And hopefully there's a size in here that will fit these little nuts. So let's take, okay, can't get that off. Well, that's good, I suppose, because they shouldn't come flying off then. Wow, that is tight. It's ruining my presentation now. Leave that there. So there's the nuts, and is it going to be these ones? Don't think so. Is it going to be these? Looking good. Yeah, there we go. Black nut caps. And obviously, let's leave it on. The other problem you've had, as you might have noticed, is there's a bit of that aluminium. These are too long. So, you know what's coming. Okay, we need to lose at least 3mm off there. Otherwise that's not going to clamp them. So, Mr. Grindy. That can be hard. There's a bit of resistance at the end, but if we work that nut back and forth, there we go. Hopefully we can unscrew that and get it back on. Oh, it's not so easy. Okay, here we go. Haven't taken too much off. Nope. And the other one, just so you know, I'm putting my palm against the guard. I'm not some like Iron Man, and I'm just putting the grinding wheel on me. Careful. Whilst we're on a mission to make it look a little bit better for our imagination, I just thought I'd put some plastic finisher on this number plate holder just to blacken it up a bit. This isn't paint, it's just plastic restorer. Not that I really think these plastic restorers work, I think they last for couple of weeks maybe. We'll make it look a bit shinier, or less shiny, but blacker. So I'm just going to pop this on. Funny enough, these are the bolts that held the number plate light on. So they fit there. I had to add my own nuts though. Yes. Just pop that on. Okay, light. Let's put the cable through. That goes through there. 2 washers. Nuts. It's a good job I didn't cut them any shorter, because that's pretty much where it wants to be. How's that looking? Finger tight will do. Now, my little nut caps. Actually, I don't think I need the washers on there, because there's washers built into the nuts. Plus, they were black washers, they'd look better actually. Well, I'm sure they'd be black after a couple of months out in this weather. Weather has been terrible in the UK last month. I think we've got used to a bit of global warming. And it's a bit depressing to have a normal summer back, normal washout sort of August. No, it's not going to stick to that silicone. It might just stick enough just to let's have a look. So not too high, not too low. Okay. I just need that small reflector. Here we go. Okay, first impression is it looks a lot more like a factory solution rather than some geezer bodging in his shed. Obviously, you might think different. But flipping that bracket round has made that look a lot better. We've got those nice black nut covers. Nuts need painting black, don't they? So to speak. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Now I've painted that bracket black and lowered it. That almost looked like someone meant it to be like that. We've got the number plate window just underneath that light to light that up. I might even be getting used to this now. I think what I'd really like is some kind of retro canvas pouch bag thing to be there. I've got a bag of sorts here. Just like this. Which is a waterproof motorbike bag. How does that look? Let's move back a bit. Yeah, it'd be cool to have a sort of bag there. I can see in my mind's eye what I want, but I haven't really seen anything yet. I'd like something like that, but as if it was an old style military thing, like canvas. Something that looks a bit weathered. It looks quite cool because now we've got this sort of separation between the rack and the light. It looks like the lights are its own thing, and that's its own thing. Yeah, just need to find the right bag. Not that this one's terrible. It's just sort of basic. It's a roll top one where you have to sort of roll it down and fasten it. It's not very practical. But then if you wanted practical, I'd drive around in a car, wouldn't I? Stand back a bit. Yeah, we'll put some filler in the end there to put a smooth end on those tubes, or rather a solid end. But I'm a lot happier than when we started and that light was round the other way. It's a shame we couldn't make that Meteor one work, but it was just too big. What do you think?